What's going on YouTube? Earth Power here with CVH.
What's up, everybody?
And we have the first match in the 2023 bracket tournament, finding the best deck using the finish meta with a ban list and 40 cards max. So that's what you're getting out of me today.
Yep.
So game one. You guys see the bracket on the screen right now. Wave Strikers ended up as the first seed. Pegasus ended up as the 16th seed. The four of us all voted on what we kind of generally thought theory wise how these decks would do. Wave Strikers ended up with the best score. Pegasus ended up with the worst score.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're bringing it to you now. Seed 1 versus Seed 16, kind of the way a standard, 16-man bracket would go. And here they are, facing off. So,
Yep. Starting at the
Christian,
top of the bracket.
yeah,
Switching over, and let's take a look. So for this match, I was playing Wave Strikers, Light Fire Nature. As Carl mentioned, we ranked this deck overall first. I think all of us ranked it either first or second, because in our test sort of preseason, it did incredibly well and had a really nasty, efficient curve that just seemed to pop off every game. And Pegasus was a little slower, more untested. And this is one
yeah,
of the first games we played with it. And actually, there are two
yeah.
Pegasus proxies that you'll see.
You can, yeah, you very much. And shout outs to Bucky for getting us some very sick art prints very
Yeah.
early.
Oh, and
And
if you want to see quick 3 to 5 minute deck profiles of both of these decks, the links to those will be in the description because you're going to post them before this video goes live.
for sure. So this match, we Pegasus was wholly untested. This was a theory deck that we had put together probably after the holidays when, Christian, Spencer, and I, Gorby, we had all gotten together on and off throughout the holiday break, and we played a lot of games together. This deck was one that came after those holiday breaks, Pegasus, that is. And so this deck was just kind of a theory. I wanted a fun card. You would put Phantom Act together. And so I was looking for just other decks that could be neat to kind of throw in the bracket to kind of shake things up. And so Pegasus was that deck. Turns out, as you guys will see here in the coming turns, a turn 5, 7,000 power blocker is very just powerful against most aggro strategies. And there it is. So when this deck hits on curve, which is apparently this game, um,
Yep.
Survivors has a tough time. The card that survive or it's not Survivors, excuse me, Wave Strikers, but the card that I think Wave Strikers wants to see often is Sapient Tark, and clearly you're off of Fire Mana here,
Yeah.
but you get it off of Uncanny Turnip, which is nice. So,
This was a very weird hand. As you can see or have seen, I missed turn 2, which in a deck with 12 2-drops and 40 cards is a little abnormal, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. You kind of got to work with what you got. Unfortunately, what I got was a 3 into a 4, and then finally getting my Wave Strikers online on turn 5. Meanwhile, Carl had the Bronze Arm Tribe, so the turn 4 Valkyr into the turn 5 Valkyr. Now there's two 7,000 power creatures against an aggressive deck that has broken no shields and whose largest creatures are 6,000 without Merlee on the board. And now we're seeing the Colon. We're seeing we're seeing some things get tapped down and killed. Even though I could block there, there's really no real use. And Strikers is already. This is the turn where it probably should be winning the game, so it's obviously not doing great.
yeah, Striker still has an out in this match, though. I mean, both of these decks play Holy All,
How
so
many how many does Pegasus
ideally
play? I know I could just click the description
3.
and see those deck profiles, but was
Pegasus has 3, Strikers plays 4. So, it's one of those games, and I think a lot of games like this come down to it when you have these kind of mid-range aggro strategies that play all. It's who can break first so that they can crack back, banking on, if I don't know, theory wise, right? All the wave strikers go in, break all my shields, try to go for game. If you hit an all, you're hoping that's the only all.
yeah.
And if
The
that's the case, then when I go to crack back, if I can't kill all of your creatures and you can swing, and to turn me, I swing against your shields and you're hoping you have the all down. And that's kind of what some of these games, you know, tend to come down to when it's multiple decks with multiple holy alls.
yeah,
So
the
that tends
Pegasus
to be,
has been searched for.
yes.
Love to see it.
So, see the alt art Pegasus there.
Yeah,
Again,
get your
very
hands on that
thankful.
one. You should
Yeah,
auction them off for charity.
I should do a channel giveaway one day.
Yeah. We gotta keep one and just get rid of the other. Sign it or something. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, or Pegasus has a lot more defensive shield triggers than Strikers does with the soul swaps and potentially Kalan and rapid
Well,
reincarnation shenanigans too. And you also have more things to do, like more actual utility plays with the tap throughout the game. Like my deck is pretty much just play a bunch of really hard to deal with things, interact as little as possible outside of the rare Sapien Tark swing, and just mostly go for shields and let your opponent figure it out. And usually they can't win everything 6,000 power, but you have a bunch of 7,000 power things, and now it's a really high tensions board state here, where either one
yeah,
of us with a Holy
I
Yaw
mean,
could win.
and that's the card you're looking for, right? Like if you see a Merlee at any point in these last like 2 to 3 turns, or maybe in the next like 1 or 2 turns, if I don't see all, like Merlee just lets half of this board go in against me, and like you'll take the favorable trades against the Valkyr, right? Like there's no reason not to.
Well, it'd be
So
even, but yeah.
er, it would, right, the well, I say favorable trade, but just favorable in the sense that you get rid of what is essentially bait for me, but the thing blocking the rest of your guys.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I
you
would
know,
I would hit with Sapien Tark and swing in with some 7,000 power pumpkins for sure if I could. All right,
so
here we are, the
there's
old Pegasus. First time seeing it in the bracket tournament. No, just kidding.
well, pick we're
It's just
just
another
gonna play.
Valkyr.
Yeah.
Hey,
So the thought process here is like I can just keep dirtling. If you end up having the all, that's awful. Like that's what I don't want to see. But you didn't have it last turn when you had 6 things on board. So if I can play into it another turn, use a Valkyr and a Rumbling Terrahorn and a Pegasus the following turn, I can swing it at all your shields. So it's take a
what about
turn, let this be a 2 turn for me, hit the all first, and see what I can do.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but just a note for those of you watching at home: there will be times when you see takes backsies and some discussions happening that you won't be able to hear because we're treating this tournament more as like an exhibition for the decks rather than an actual tournament for us.
Yeah,
So I mean, we're
very
just trying to find the right lines here. So if something was a mistake, we might go back like half of a turn and correct it as long as there was no gameplay knowledge that shouldn't have been revealed.
right. And there's definitely some times where like you do something where you bank on something happening and it's a poor decision, or maybe something doesn't quite work out. But as
Yeah,
far as it not affecting the board state, like we're trying to play it, like you said, these decks as optimally as possible, but we're just trying to get the best showcase for when these decks play. And maybe, oh yeah, because you had the Azra, that's why I didn't swing with the other Kalana Bronze Archer there.
yep.
But just trying to play these decks as well as we can, consistently as we can, is the goal.
Imagine a bonfire lizard here,
We're
dude.
not. Oh my god, yeah,
Or like last
that
turn.
conversation we'll have after this, but yeah, it's just we played this deck under the assumption that a 5 and a 7,000 blocker didn't exist, and turns
Yeah.
out Wave Striker just got the matchup where that's just tough.
Yeah, you played it on turn 4. I didn't have it too, and it's been a tough situation. So now
So
with the double Pyrofighter, though, I have uh 10
you have
attackers,
enough, yeah,
and
10
you have
attackers
4
versus
blockers and
2
5 shields. So theoretically, that's lethal. Let's see how it goes for our hero.
Yeah,
Some
so
early
definitely take
blocks.
there. Yeah, take the favorable trades while I can get them, and you just
Yep.
bank on Julio. So
Yep, I Sapien Tark to force a little block, and
the
7
only thing
attackers to
Emerald
1 blocker.
the only thing Emerald Grass can kill at this point is Uncanny and Skyscraper Shell. So
Oh
at
yeah.
this point, I just take the shields.
But unfortunately, I'm at a place
Or
where even a Kolan would end my assault. And this is rapid
uh,
reincarnation. So
so I
originally you think
realized
that, yeah,
immediately, after not having read the card and realize I have to kill one of my dudes. So,
yeah. So looking at your
but
hand, it
this is
doesn't look like you have an out, but you find a cool little line here, I think.
yeah. Because hit reincarnation, the first conversation was, "Oh, well, you just drop the blocker, right?" And I was like, "Don't have one." So we use reincarnation, hit Pegasus. I'm assuming the way the Pegasus works is it takes the thing off the top. So if I can get a blocker
Yep.
and or Kalan, like this just worked out, I save myself the game.
Yep.
So
Yep. You
then we
Kalan'd
talk
off the
about the
top. Easy.
interaction. Yeah, we talk about the interaction here, and please correct us if we're wrong in here, but we assumed the interaction was you're destroying the creature, so then the creature effect is apparently the first effect on the stack, for lack of a better way of saying it. So Pegasus gets destroyed, Pegasus hits graveyard, it does its thing, and then reincarnation resolves. You drop the Terrahorn, search the deck. So
You know,
at this
actually,
point,
now that you're saying it, I don't actually know that it works like that, but
right, and
regardless,
neither
it
do
was random, right? Like the top card of your deck is gonna be random, and if you searched beforehand, it even would have been a better chance that Colon would be on the top. So even
I.
if we technically did it wrong, I'm not like, that result was totally reasonable and could have happened. And
Yeah, and
Alcadius is what killed me in the end.
right. But basically banking
Yeah,
on you not having on the last two shields when that was
yeah.
the game there.
Because
So
I don't believe this
uh,
game actually has a stack. I believe it is do everything a card does and then do the other thing a card does.
right. Well, like I said, the destruction of the card in there. And please, for those of you listening, correct us if we're wrong, or at least let us know if we did that right, because this might not be the last time we see either of these decks.
Yeah, but
I
I
don't
think
know if
you've
I'm
already
getting any
probably
of that right.
taken reincarnation out of Pegasus. Not to
Yeah,
spoil anything for future tournaments or
not to
anything.
spoil anything, but yeah, this tournament is this is all recordings after the fact, but yeah, I think reincarnation is just one of those cards where it looked good on paper in the early iterations of this deck,
It does some
and
cute
testing.
things.
Yeah, it can cheat out an evolution, which is neat.
Yeah.
If that's the case, though, but no, yeah, never mind. It doesn't work that way. I was like, wait a minute, I could just search for the creature and play it off of the reincarnation, but I play
No.
Terrahorn off that. I can't play two
Yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah. Moving on to game two. Looks like I found fire mana and a 2-drop. You love to
The
see
best
it.
teardrop, perhaps.
You
It's
do not have
probably
an
the best
emerald
one.
grass. So I
So
start I
I
pumpkin,
start
and because my 2-drop is Merly, it has 1500. I decide that it's okay to attack because Colon can't actually crack back against anything. If my 2-drop
would
was
you
a 1000 power wave striker here, I would not have attacked because Colon can kill, and
would you
then
really not?
yeah, because the downside is immense. Like if I hit Colon, I lose the game. I don't get to put my skyscraper shell online the following turn.
I guess that's fair.
The upside's kind of marginal, but the downside is like game losing.
Yeah, so
But
this
here it's
one's tough.
fine.
Hitting Skyscraper on 4 is probably the best one on 4 to hit, especially with no creatures on board, because I can play a Valkyrie here, and now you have
Yeah.
3 dudes, and you have the other Skyscraper shell, and that's
Yeah,
just tough.
if since
That's
you hadn't ramped on
that
3, if I had just had another 3-drop wave striker, I would have played it over shell and just not attacked with Merly. But
right, if I could
putting
do
you at the
either.
early Valk here is dangerous. But since I had the second shell, I was less scared of it because I was just like, what's
Right,
he gonna do? There's no
right,
hope.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
My deck is a play one thing and try to play the best thing every turn, and if I'm already behind, then yeah, Skyscraper's just the obvious, like, good card.
yeah.
Because even
Well,
though
that
it says I can choose, the option is only one card. It's basically you're choosing.
yeah. And that was Wave Strikers just kind of where it wants to be. And the whole game, even in, real time. We're watching at 1.5 times speed, by the way. We weren't just heavily caffeinated, but even on normal human time, that game only lasted about 90 seconds from start to
Yeah,
finish, which is
yeah.
pretty
And
pretty
that's
much
and
the
and
time you
that's
want.
and that's the allure of wave strikers, right? And you'll see we have a ton of matches with this from preseason stuff that I'll kind of sprinkle in there throughout this tournament. But Wave Strikers hits a curve similar to the way most rush decks do, where on 4 it's just online and it should be applying so much pressure plus putting dudes out that are 6,000 plus power that it's just I mean it's a better form of rush, right? And Sapien Tark, Azura give you defense, give you offense and pressure cards that are just hard for other decks and just other strategies to deal with. Where it can out tempo because of Sapien Tark, where it can out defend because of Azura. So the deck has essentially all the things it needs to do what it wants, and turns out as we are going to find
That's
again.
all of the decks. All of the decks
Yeah,
have what they have to do what they want.
right, but the thing about Wave Strike is on paper it should be doing what it wants more consistently.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah, we get it.
that's a trade-off there because what it wants to do is a very, very limited, narrow thing. So if it doesn't
Right,
happen according to plan, the deck looks real bad all of a sudden. Needless to
right.
say, you're on the play this game. Had the Emerald Grass into Bronze Arm, and I'm really hoping right now you don't have Valkyr, and it looks like you don't. So I have a little stay of execution. It's nice. Don't have to
Yeah,
face down the 6,000 or 7,000 power blockers quite yet.
and that's it. Even though, and like I said, even though your lines are narrow, like you said, even though your lines are narrow, Wave Strikers just has all of your dudes have really cool effects when
Oh
you're
yeah, yeah,
in this. So
yeah.
keeping 3 on board makes your deck incredibly hard to do.
Yeah, but I mean, like
So
the narrower a deck's win condition is, the better it is at it usually. And like
Yep.
something like foul, it has to sort of react to what your opponent's doing, which is great.
Yeah, this was a tough call here, giving up not the blocker, but I figured if I can play the long game, similar to game one, that my deck stands a better chance at winning. And knowing I have the Terrahorn the following turn, like lets me go into just I think playing more defenders. If I don't grab Valkyr here, it's probably because I have another one in hand, but I'm very positive I'm just checking for Holy Alls and then feel like the right play is to grab Valkyr here. But let's see what past Carl did.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you already have one. Well, no, because you would have played it. Yeah,
I definitely well, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have. Because at that point, like if you want to swing in, like
I don't have the most going on, and you can crack back against two things.
right, but I can also block two things.
Yep.
So, even if you swing in, even if you drop a third guy or have another skyscraper shell, like what I'm just gonna put Terraform in mana, right? So
Yep.
yeah,
And I have another pumpkin.
yeah. So we're basically getting back to the same state. I think we got to game one where it's just gonna come down to who has the alls and who hits the timing when they need to. So
Yeah, and this is really like I can already, you know, past me is already sort of dreading this game because this is not how you want to start the first 4 or 5 turns. As wave
right.
strikers, you want to be applying pressure. I was unable to do so because of the early grass, and yeah, we are already
We
kind of
were
on the back foot. Also, I have not seen any fire mana. I think I may be holding a Sapient Tark that has just been by its lonesome for the entire game.
yeah.
And that might have been nice
We're I
early
think
on.
we're also coming to a realization in this now that maybe Pegasus just has the favorable matchup against strikers, and all of our theory prior was just that doesn't make sense. Like we were, again we had ranked Pegasus last in our bracket tournament. Just thoughts, and so for this deck to now be in a favorable position just didn't I don't know if it didn't feel right. It's not the right way to say that, but um, yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
about
do
breaking
think
a
it's
shield.
pretty close because like
Future.
two of these games you had Emerald Grass and a Bronze Arm, and one of the games I totally whiffed on it too, which is again pretty abnormal. And even then, the first game was like I had lethal. It was just relying on not hitting a shield trigger. So
Yeah,
if I had gotten lucky and not hitting a shield trigger, it would have been a 2-0, and then we might not have been having that discussion. I think Pegasus is probably favored in those current iterations of the decks, but I think it's a close matchup because even this is not one for any one player quite yet.
right. So this is where I put you on the 2 turn clock. Ideally, if I can break past the holy all here or hit it here, that's ideal. Um,
Yeah, the only
and
downside
with
is potentially if I have like double pyro, but that's really an
double
edge
pyro,
case.
and with you not having only the one fire, it's basically double pyro and a fire mana. And I think I just gave you 2 cards plus the one in your hand, so I think the number there was. Oh yeah, and you get the choice of blocking with an Azure, which I can crack back on Valkyr. So, and that might have been a hindsight. I can't remember if that was something we spoke about prior, but just remembering that Azure has blocker.
It definitely does. So you
1000%.
have two attackers. I'm feeling like a Pegasus could just kill me.
Yeah, yeah. Pegasus would be the play.
I do a little turnip
Turn up,
play here to go wide. That's kind of nice. I get to reload. Turnip into Azra. Pretty cute.
and you hit a pyro down, which is interesting. Which makes me think you might have the other 2 pyros at this point. So,
I honestly can't remember. I think I don't, and I think my plan here is to hopefully stick this board, not lose the game this turn, and then holy awe you and just try for lethal with 6. That might
yeah,
be what I'm going for.
yeah. Just play the all crackback game.
Let's see if I play on now, because right now you're still not representing lethal quite yet.
I know you're holding the all because I saw it in the camera.
Oh, just now? Yeah,
And
you didn't see it back then, thankfully.
yeah, I didn't see back then, but I saw that you are holding all this turn, so it's definitely part of this thought process. And you might have a pyro in hand. I saw a
Yeah,
fire card.
I think right now I'm
Card.
just debating on whether or not I can afford to build up a board one more turn by playing 1 or 2 strikers to make Kolan and
Well,
Soul Swap not
the
detrimental to
build
my
up of the
lethal.
board. Yeah, because I guess I get to clear everything if you hit all down. which gives me then just basically all the turns I need to do whatever. It should just be victory if you don't hit all on the very last shield. So because
Oh yeah,
that's all trade favorably, which is not great for you. And
even
that
if I hit
might
on the last
that's
shield, I mean, I'm still like if I try to win the game and I don't win the game when I try to, I I'm pretty much for sure gonna lose. That's
yeah,
what I've resigned
yeah,
myself. It's very unlikely because I
gotta,
would also need an awe down and some speed attackers.
yeah, you gotta win before you lose, friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
But
even
like
then,
last
is
turn,
if
your
you
turn was
fall
pretty weak, so I'm at this point I was confident you didn't
down,
have on your hand because you would have wiped me.
yeah, and the goal here is obviously like you said, it's just we're playing the all crackback game. As long as you can stick a creature after this, if you can break me down to one or two shields, stick a few
Oh,
creatures the following turn, like I have to crack back on your creatures. So,
yeah. But I
and
figured like if I hit awe even on the fifth shield, like I'm pretty dead because I figure at that point you can easily clear
maybe
everything
not.
and have a blocker untapped.
Maybe not if you have. I mean, because again, you bank on having awe at this point. There's no way I can get past an awe and shield, right?
True.
So you take me off of Ancient Horn, which is cute. So, but like at that point, if you break me down to one or two shields, you just need to stick three or four creatures and hope I don't have the last awe and whatever the last amount of shields are. Hitting at first shield is definitely just the worst.
Yeah. I also can't like stick 3 or 4 creatures in one turn usually.
So this should be the turn where I just go for the game if I
Yeah.
have it. Well, I definitely have it on board. I'm showing it on board.
Yeah.
Playing
And
it
the
all
only
up
shield
here.
trigger in Wave Strikers is Holy Awe, so nothing really too scary here. I found it, which is
There
kind
it
of
is.
nice, but I don't have enough mana or pyro fighters for 3 pyro fighters. I have the one.
Yeah.
So at this point, I
Have the
just try to
one.
go in and hopefully I get another Holy Awe and shields, and I'm just the luckiest person on the planet.
Yeah.
That's the hope here.
Right. Right. We're playing the Holy All game. So and I think we're just discussing the proper way to do this, but I don't think it
Yeah,
matters.
well,
It's just
attack
all
sequencing matters, and I think I messed it up because Pyro should go first because I don't want to hit Soul Swap and lose my Pyro.
right. Yeah, I think that was the conversation we had. But I
It
had
still
one
did it wrong
swapped
though,
in.
so I doubt it. I feel like if we talked about it, I might not have loved it. But here, let's see if we have another Holy Awe to deal with this 4 Valkyr board of 9 creatures. 11, sorry.
Okay. Oh yeah, so I just kill your dudes.
Kill my dudes and try to
Oh my
kill
god.
me.
Where you tell me, like, yeah, because you try
Yeah,
to get spicy. Who you trading
yeah,
with first?
yeah. I was memeing.
Mis- Mr. Optimal
You
plays
have
here.
4 Valkyrs, you can lose one.
I could probably afford to lose one.
Here's that all.
Yeah.
On to 2
Hoping
pyros?
and praying.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. So
I think were there even two
this is
pyros
where
left? Yeah, somewhere.
you and I had to have a tough conversation.
Yep.
So welcome back to the broadcast booth. Earth Power and CVH here, joining you again. Uh,
After quite an
yeah,
upset.
quite the upset. 16th seed beats first seed, and that was not what we expected, even a little bit.
Yeah, I mean
And
maybe
that's
not an
been
upset for you at home because I don't think a lot of people respect Wave Strikers. I think Wave Strikers and Pegasus are both seen as kind of more memey,
yeah,
outskirty decks. But I promise in
yeah.
testing it was good.
The way it performed once we put it together, the past 2 months prior to doing this bracket tournament stuff was just it felt powerful, and hopefully we'll show you guys some videos in the future that just kind of showcase what this deck does to just other decks that don't have 5 or 7,000 power blockers. Yeah, looking back at it, because to take you behind the curtain, we played this match twice because we weren't sure. So we'll probably post it again after everything's all done with this bracket tournament. But we played Strikers against Pegasus again in a second match just to be sure. Like we couldn't be sure that in one showing that maybe that's just the way it goes. And Pegasus did beat Wave Strikers twice. So at that point we were pretty confident that Pegasus just had the good matchup, hit everything it needed to hit correctly, and yeah, won the match and moves on in the 2023 bracket tournament. So you guys will see Pegasus in top 8 versus the winner of
Foul Control and Wise Starnoid, which I think will be the next match that you post. after
It
those deck
will.
profiles.
It will be. So the goal for those of you who are still sticking around, we're going to post both the profiles for all of the top 16 decks prior to their match, similar to how we've done it with this. And the goal is to do that every Saturday, Sunday. So deck profiles on the weekend, about a day apart. And then somewhere midweek, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, post the other two profiles in the following match. So stay on the lookout for that. And Christian, you got any final thoughts on strikers versus Pegasus?
I got nothing. We might retool these decks. You might see them again. Hopefully you enjoyed the match. It was back and forth. You got to see both decks kind of do what they wanted to do. Maybe Pegasus will even see some more play. In the next match. We basically saw it hit once and then get reincarnated, which is really funny. Really,
Yeah,
really funny.
so
But yeah, hopefully
we,
you all
we
enjoyed.
wait.
Stay tuned for more profiles and matches. It's gonna be a good
Yeah.
bracket. Leave a
All
comment.
right,
What
guys.
match are you most excited about? For the algorithm. For Carl. Do it for Carl.
Thanks, man. We'll see you guys next time. Peach.
Peach.